recording your carcass?
My carcass, am I dead? It's generally what a carcass is, a dead carcass. So you want me to talk about what I'm doing?
Okay, so?
Okay, so if you buy an old corn planter and you want to put what do you call these things? My brain is fried. Farm shop closing wheels. Obviously, you've watched my videos before. You have to make these extensions and make it so that they're adjustable. I had somebody tell me, "Oh, you're not gonna have the angle right. They look like they're chamfered and stuff." It's like that was the whole thing. The whole thing is to get the angles right so that it works correctly. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's gonna work. Unless I misread that comment, I was like, Jesus Christ, I could lead y'all to the Red Sea and part it, and you're gonna ask me if the ground is dry beneath the water. That's what you're gonna do. Nah, I'm not dying. Anyway, let's talk about the corn planter for the last time. I just finished all of the closing wheels. All the closing wheel arms are on. Loctited them all. I have not painted them yet. I don't know if I'm going to. I really don't think it's a necessary thing. As you can see how they look, it's just a arm that was put on there, and then I put the bolt through. I've welded the bolt for added strength. All of them. So the bolt head is welded to the arm. And yeah, we're done. I've got them all on. Not really a hard job. It is a time-consuming job because there's 24 of these damn things. If it was a 4-row corn planter, I'd do it in about an hour or two, you know. But for all the work that I did to this thing to get it to where it needs to be, we're good there. So the next thing that I was going to do was quite simple. I was just going to go ahead and hook up. This Sprayer Specialties flow gizmo here, right? So got a rheostat knob on there, an on and off switch, and that runs the pump to that tank. So when I bought this corn planter, I said, hey, I'd really like you to take that crap out of that tank. I don't know what it is. And they're like, oh, no, that's okay. That's just antifreeze in there. We put a lot of it in there so that it would, not freeze up and destroy all your tubing and pipes and stuff. It's like, all right, good excuse, right? Well, what I've discovered is that there may be antifreeze in there, but they put the antifreeze in on top of fertilizer, liquid starter. You can see how it's settled out. At least I can. There's about 2 inches of settled, some liquid on top and the heavier liquid on the bottom, so that would be a good indication that that is a type of fertilizer. And what that has done is caused that pump to not want to work because it's crystallized. Timothy took the screen off, or the filter off, and it was full of crystallized fertilizer, not crystallized antifreeze. But whatever, it's a used corn planter, so may as well just, get over the fact that they didn't clean it out with water first and put the antifreeze in. They just threw antifreeze in on top of fertilizer. So that pump, I don't know how much that little sucker's going to cost, but it ain't cheap. It'd probably be $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $1,000. Who the heck knows? But I do have a book here. Inside. We've got birds in here. They're building nests. I hate them damn things. But anyway, it doesn't matter if you're... This is Sprayer Specialties. If you've never used these before, this is the catalog for everything that they have, from tanks to... And they're located in several different places. So I was quite happy to buy from them. They seemed like they were really eager to help, eager to sell me the piece, and they shipped it out. It was quick. So anyway, yeah, I'm going to go home and I'm going to look in my Sprayer Specialties book. They do have this catalog online, but you know what? Doesn't matter. Online is very difficult to navigate through, I don't know, 1,000 pages, probably 400 pages. I'm not going to even try online because I did, and you have to flip through the pages, real pain in the neck. But anyways, I got their catalog, and I'm going to go home, and I'm going to look it up, and I'm going to type in the number online, and then I'll be able to order the pump that I need. So there you go. Mo money, right? Is that how that goes? Mo money. But yeah, so I'm pretty thrilled that I've got all the closing wheels done. Everything is spot on, just about ready to go with this thing, other than some wiring harnesses, and then I got to figure out what tractor I'm going to put it on. Then I'm going to take it outside and unfold it. I do have some welding to do on the closing wheels and, of course, the pivots, which I will be doing tomorrow. So y'all have a nice night. It's dark, and my truck is right here, so I'll see you later. All right. So this field, I used to make hay on this. If you look back on my videos between 15, 16, and 17, I farmed this place. It's county ground. Then I lost it on a bid, which I bid what I felt was enough to keep it, but it wasn't. And whatever the other guy bid was way too much for it, because nobody in the area wanted to bid on it. Now, because it's county ground, people just don't try their hardest to make it produce. Well, let's put it this way: they don't want to put any more money into it than they have to, other than to just grow the crop that they're growing at that time. Because, you know, you wouldn't want to give it to the next guy that bids it away from you. And I mean, I get it, right? I get it. Nobody wants to spend money that they're not gonna supposedly get back. Well, farming a piece of property just to farm it without trying your hardest is just foolishness, in my opinion. I mean, if you're gonna farm a piece of property, you don't know when the owner is gonna sell it. You don't know when when the bids are gonna go out. Some of these people bid their land every couple of years to try and get the most out of it. So I think that the county, and I know that our township did, was they put in minimum requirements. You have to maintain the farms, the farm's integrity, so that it doesn't get depleted. If the pH is, if you start farming it and the pH is 6.5, you better maintain that pH at 6.5. If you don't maintain it at 6.5, they come after you and make you put lime on it, even if you're not farming it anymore. And I agree with that, because you can have guys come onto a property and, pay a little extra money and say, hey, well, you know what? I know that Wes Pandy put lime on that, and I know that Wes Pandy, he's been building organic matter on that, and we can exploit that for free. We'll just bid an extra $5 or $10 an acre on it, and we'll take it away from him, and then he won't have, he'll lose the ground, we'll deplete it, and then we won't bid on it the next time, just so that he has to do it again. And then in 5 or 10 years, or however many years it is, by the time I get it, because I'll bid on it. I know the value of keeping up the pH and other things. It's just very important. And this is actually very stony ground, but it's a producing ground. It's not a piece of property that is garbage. There's no wet holes in it. I don't know of one wet spot on the whole 270 acres or so that's up here. I don't know one wet spot. There's washout. It is washy ground because it's a little more sandier soil. It doesn't have that binding clay, like we have at home. But it's also fairly idiot-proof. I hate to use them terms, but it's fairly idiot-proof. And I'm going to turn the camera around here so you know what I'm putting down. What I'm putting down is a blend of potash. The phosphate levels on these farms are fine. These were old dairy farms. They're actually in the good to high range. The trick is going to be to get this phosphate to become available to the plant. So how do you make phosphates available to the plants? Well, I'm going to tell you. There are some products out there that you can put on to make phosphates more available. The best way to make phosphates more available to your cash crop is actually organic matter. The microbial bacteria and funguses that grow within the soil are really what breaks down that high levels of phosphate. Now, phosphate binds other nutrients up. If you get too high a level of phosphate, then you've got, this binding issue, and that's never a good. It's never a good thing. You don't want to have bound up nutrients. You don't want to have bound up nutrients. You just don't. It's counterproductive because, you pull a soil test and it says, oh, by the way, your base saturation is this. Even though that number is somewhat bullshit, those base saturation numbers. Now, there's a sinkhole right there. Now, I think that's a sinkhole. If that's not a sinkhole, that's something I've never experienced before on anything that I've ever farmed, the sinkholes. We just don't have them. We just don't have them at home. And, you don't want to have sinkholes. I don't like them. It makes me worried. Am I going to drop my tractor in one of them things, or is the ground going to just give out from beneath me? Where in the hell's my marks? Is that it? Yeah, that's it. I'm getting a little close. Okay. I'm doing this old school. So when you do things old school, you get a little bit narrowed up. I never widen out. Anyway, yeah. So honestly, I think that when the county or the state or whoever is going to bid out land, they really should look long and hard at maintaining the condition of the soil. And it's really simple to do that. They could require you to soil test every year or every other year, or the first year and the last year, maintain those soils. Because on the last year, you pull that soil test and submit it to the county. If it says, hey, you dumbass, you've depleted the pH from a nice 6.6, 6.7 down to a 6.1, 6.2, you're required to put lime on, as a last thing, or you're never gonna be able to bid on county ground again, and that will, that'll spur people's ambitions to do that. So anyway, I am planning on putting a little bit of lime up here. The pH up here is in the low 6s, and we are on calcium land. There's calcium. There's lime kilns in this area. So you'll see the white rocks. There's one. No, that was a sandstone. Anyways, there's white limestone limestones here. There's one. You can see that one. So there's another one that's limestone. So anyway, yeah. So the pH isn't really hard to maintain here. There's a lot of factors that go into depleting the pH. This has a nice cover crop on it of clover. There's rye in here, and there's some other interesting things in here that were put down. And yeah, there you go. I mean, you can see it. So I'm basically, right now, I'm feeding this cover crop. Okay? When I'm done feeding this cover crop, I'm gonna let it go. It'll be 10 days before I get up here to plant this. I'm gonna plant through this cover crop. I'm gonna plant green, and that's it. I'm gonna kill it off then. And once the corn starts to get up, get sprouted and whatnot, I'm gonna burn it off, and it'll die, and the corn will come up through here and grow. I do want to put some lime on, but I'm just not going to have time to do it this year. At 6.2 pH, corn will be okay. If I was going to do soybeans, I'd want it up around 6, 8, 7. That's the funny thing about soybeans. They like a much better pH than say corn would require. Calcium levels are important. There's plenty of calcium up here because of the limestone underfoot. So, anyways, I guess I've talked a lot. We're up in some really nice area to farm. The problem is deer, right? How am I gonna get the deer off of here? Oh my God, Mr. Bandy's gonna put corn on that property. The deer are gonna annihilate them. Well, no, they're not. They're actually not going to bother me in the least because I've got my deer repellent. Now, I can announce what my deer repellent is right now, but I've got a whole pallet of deer repellent that you'll be able to get it from me if you're local. If not, I will give you the phone number where you can call or the website where you can go look it up. And you can very easily purchase this deer repellent. It's not a repellent per se. It works on electromagnetic frequencies. Did you hear me? Electromagnetic frequency. Okay, so I'm going to explain this a little bit before I do the big reveal in a couple of days. Electromagnetic frequencies, we all have them. So my body emits a frequency. The human body emits a frequency that animals and other living beings like mosquitoes and gnats and things like that, they pick up on. They are more intuitive to these frequencies than you or I are. And deer, geese, wild boars. This product was really designed for wild boars. Feral hogs in the south. If you've got feral hogs and you're watching this channel, stay tuned. I will tell you what will get them off of there. It stops them. They will not enter your field. They will not tear up your soybeans, wheat, cotton, barley, whatever the hell you're growing. They're just not going to do it. So, anyway, it works on electromagnetic frequencies. These are programmed into this product. When you open up this product, it's going to look like a bucket of dirt. Because it is a bucket of dirt. It's a bucket of dirt that has been programmed to emit a frequency, multiple frequencies, that these negative wildlife animals like deer, wild boars, geese, they do have another product that'll take out rabbits and things like that around your house and stuff. But we're just going to talk about the product that I've used, and I can tell you, it works. It works. It works very, very well. So, if the predators that keep deer off are wolves, mountain lions, and things like that, each one of those animals emits a different frequency from itself, from others, like human beings. Why is it that gnats and mosquitoes want to go to certain to people that have a certain blood type, like O positive or B negative or AB negative or AB positive or whatever, A blood type A or whatever it is? Some people attract these insects and bugs at a different rate, and if you didn't know, it's because of your blood type. There's different blood types emit different frequencies, and mosquitoes, gnats, horseflies, and shit like that, they pick up on those things and they're like, oh, I like AB negative, and they go for it. And you're the type of person that gets bit up by mosquitoes and bugs way more than, say, another type of person. It's because your frequency is just slightly different. It works the same way on plants and other things. I have products that will be available through me that work on these frequencies, these magnetic frequencies, that will break down phosphates, potassiums, and other nutrients that are bound up in your soil. And it works. There is proof of it. I am going to be doing sampling and just experimenting myself with these products. If you've used them before, you'll know what I'm talking about. And anyway, it is not snake oil. I thought it was snake oil. when I bought my first 2 buckets of this stuff, I was like, what the hell did I just buy? 3 buckets of dirt, or 2 buckets of dirt. Well, those buckets of dirt saved me tens of thousands of dollars in deer damage. So I got a couple more things I want to iron out with this company before I announce exactly what it is. It's a product that you don't need to put on until most people don't pre-order it because they're like, oh, well, I don't have a problem right now, and it's a fairly substantial investment to protect your crop, but it will cost you about 1.5 bushels to 2 bushels of soybeans per acre. That's what it's going to cost you. But if you used to grow 60 bushel beans or 70 bushel soybeans, and now you're only able to grow 40 bushel average beans because of wildlife, what the hell are 2 bushels of beans to gain 30? You know what I'm saying? Same thing with corn. You've got deer that come into your cornfields and they pull the corn right out of the ground when it's coming up, or bite off the tops of it, and that severely impacts the growth of that corn. It then becomes a weed because it has to catch up to everything around it. You can lose 5 to 10 bushels to the acre of corn. You can lose even more than that. And 10 bushels of corn is how many dollars? 10 times 6. Just say $6 corn. 60 bucks. Well, if it costs you $22 to gain 40, there you go. There you go. And it pays. It does pay. It pays for itself. And I will be releasing that. I know there's people that are really intrigued right now, and you should be. You should be. There are 3 products that will enhance these crops to the point that you can cut back, reduce fertilizer use, because these products, they emit a frequency that actually makes the microbial and fungal life in your soil get up and go, multiply, break down, mineralize. This expensive fertilizer that we're putting on, or how's this sound? The expensive fertilizer that your grandfather put on, or your great-grandfather put on. They put it on there and it goes down and it gets bound up in the soil because you have too high a clay content. Your calcium levels are depleted or too high, or whatever the hell it is. Your balance of your soil is off, and all them nutrients that your dad and your grandfather and great-grandfather have put out there, they're still there. They haven't gone anywhere. They're just bound up in the clay particles because something is not right. Wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to take a product that emits a frequency that triggers a response in the soil to break down those minerals, those nutrients that can be now taken up by your plant? How's this sound? If you live in, say, the Delmarva Peninsula, and you've been applying poultry litter and hog litter and mushroom compost and all these things that have been basically, you've overloaded your soil with these phosphate levels, what are you going to do? They limit the amount of phosphate you can put on to your soil test, and that creates a problem. You've got to get rid of that phosphate. Well, what do you do? How do you get rid of phosphate? Well, wouldn't it be nice to actually put it in the cash crop that you're growing? Wouldn't it be awesome if there was a product that you could simply buy, put it in your sprayer along with your herbicide and whatever else you're putting out there, whether it's nitrogen or a blend? You can actually put it into, you can mix it into dry fertilizer if you've got that ability, and just get it out on the field, and then all of a sudden you've now got a triggered response that breaks down that phosphate, and now you can go buy or get cheaper fertilizer again from the poultry barns or wherever it is you're getting it from, because you have now gotten your phosphate levels under control. Sounds like a win-win to me, right? Anyways, yeah, those products are coming. They've been around for a long time. They use them in Europe, and they've used them in South America. Brazil is a big, they use this a lot down in Brazil. down in South Brazil, Argentina, down in South America. You know, and for some reason the United States, us farmers, we're just addicted to buying commercial fertilizers to put on. But anyway, all right. Holy cow. Let's see, I get my butt down in here. Okay, here we go. I know where I was yesterday, so here we go. These fields are stony as hell, but they're actually pretty decent fields. That 24-row corn planter will zing right through here. That field I just did was small, but wide enough that, you know, you get 3 or 4 passes through it. And when I do plant this, I got to plant really slow, because I think the guy that farmed it before came in with a disc ripper and tore up a bunch of rocks that he really didn't need to do. But anyway, yeah. Woohoo! Let's see how this goes.